Now, on the basis of that, will you notice that we have a lamentation over the fall of Egypt now that continues on. Verse 1 of chapter 32, it came to pass in the 12th year, 12th month, in the first day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and say unto him, Thou art like a young lion of the nations, and thou art like a monster, the crocodile in the seas. And they worship both the lion and the crocodile. And thou camest forth with thy rivers, and troublest the waters with thy feet, and foulest their rivers. You see, they had a problem back there of ecology. Old Pharaoh was muddy in the water. Now he's been put aside. Thus saith the Lord God, I will therefore spread out my net over thee. God says, just as you put nets in the Nile River to get fish, that's the way I'm going to catch you, you monster of the Nile River, you crocodile, if you please. God says, I'm pulling you out, and you are to be judged, and you are to move to a place where you don't live in a palace. You find yourself on the same plane with your people, with everyone is on the same plane there. Death sure levels out humanity, does it not? Verse 11 here of chapter 32, For thus saith the Lord God, the sword of the king of Babylon shall come upon thee. Now, here for the last time, why he covers this, and not only the king of Babylon will take Egypt, and he mentions that first. Verse 18, This is the word of the Lord came unto him again, saying, Son of man, wail for the multitude of Egypt, and cast them down, even her, the daughters of the famous nations, unto the lower parts of the earth, with those who go down into the pit. Whom dost thou pass in beauty? Go down, and be thou laid with the uncircumcised. Now he's going to find out the other rulers are down there. And verse 22, Asher is there. That's Assyria. And all her company, her graves are about her, all of them slain, fallen by the sword. And somebody else is there. Verse 24, There is Elam, and all her multitude round about her grave. You see the body put in the grave, but they've gone someplace, and they've gone to Sheol, the unseen. The Lord called it the place of torment for those that are lost. For the saved, he called it in the Old Testament Abraham's bosom. And then later, he said to the thief on the cross, Today you'll be with me in paradise. Because you see, he hadn't taken the saved of the Old Testament back to heaven. Paul mentions that in the epistle to the Ephesians. Now we have Edom, verse 29. There's Edom, her kings and all her princes. And I passed by up in verse 26. There are Meshech and Tubal, all are there. Verse 32 now, will you listen to this? For I have caused my terror in the land of the living, and he shall be laid in the midst of the uncircumcised, with those who are slain with the sword, even Pharaoh and all his multitude, saith the Lord. Moves into that unseen world. Gives us a glimpse here. And that's all you've got is a glimpse. Don't try to build a skyscraper or a merchandise center or a mall or shopping area on a place that has just a foundation big enough for a tool shed. Can't build that kind of a theology here. But we just get a glimpse, and that's all. And that's all God intended for us